And I literally said to her, it is time for you to shut the doors, take down the website, and go and get a job. Or you can do this. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. I'm Selena Knight, and if this is your first time listening, thank you so much for joining me here today. And if you are a long-time listener, you know how very grateful I am that you continue to spend this time with me to get the ideas, the inspiration, and the innovation to scale your store. Now, if you have been following me on social, you know that I hurt my back when I was skiing a few weeks ago, and I am pleased to say that I am now up and walking around, not quite back at the gym yet, but up and walking around and able to get out to the shops and do a few things. But while I was stuck in bed or lying on the lounge room floor, it gave me a chance to do quite a bit of online shopping. And what I really wanted was a new rug for my office. I wanted to buy something to satisfy this urge that I've had to redecorate, because I have been pinning all of this. I've got a board called Office Inspiration. I've been pinning all these fantastic things that we could implement if and when we get a physical office. Now, at the moment, we have a completely remote workforce, and I don't have a problem with that. But if you've been listening for a while, you'll know that a few weeks ago, I'm just trying to think, probably about 6 weeks ago, we put in a tender for a very, very big government contract. And part of the requirements is to have an office. Now, we used to have offices, but I rented those out and moved into my home office quite a few years ago. And I'll be honest, I have been wondering if people post-COVID actually love working from home, or are they desperately craving to go back into an office? And I actually did a poll in a really big business group, and nearly every single person said that they would prefer to have an office environment to go to. Maybe not every single day, but definitely the ability to collaborate with other people, to not have to be at home looking at the piles of dirty washing, and to just be out of that home environment to spark new ideas and creativity. So I've been against the idea of an office for quite some time, but now I'm tossing up the ideas and I'm pinning away on Pinterest. You can find it there if you want to. I'm the Selena Knight. And the board is called Office Inspiration. Now, in my home office, which is actually quite a decent size, I haven't put any new furniture in for quite some time. And I thought it's about time I got some new rugs. So I've been searching and searching and searching. And of course, global supply crisis, nobody has a decent sized rug for my office. It's pretty big, the one that I need. So I thought, you know what? I'll do the second best thing, which is get two of the rugs the same. And I can put one under the desk and then one right beside it in kind of the little seating area. Now, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking for. My office is a pretty bold color. It is a beautiful, bright peacock blue with black and timber accents. At the moment, I've got black rugs or sort of charcoal-y rugs, but I thought it was time to mix it up and maybe go with something much lighter. So I did a lot of browsing on a lot of websites. And here is the thing that I am here to tell you. Oh my gosh. Some businesses make it nearly impossible to buy. Here I was looking to fork over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, potentially even thousands of dollars for two really nice rugs. But do you think I could actually purchase on some of the websites? No. Which actually got me thinking, Because you know how this brain of mine works, don't you? I am always thinking of sales and marketing, and I'm always analyzing the customer journey. It's just one of those things you do when you're in this business. But I was thinking, do you know what? If I actually went to the effort of hopping in my car and driving to a rug store, any store really, but if I went to all that effort of putting my shoes on, hopping in the car, driving, parking, getting out, going into the store, the thing is, there's a pretty good chance that I am going to buy from you. And this is one of the things that bricks and mortar retailers forget, is that if someone has come into your store, then there's a pretty good chance that they're going to buy. Now, of course, there's lots of reasons why people don't buy. Sometimes it's just that you don't have what they're after, or maybe you're out of stock. But so many times I see this over and over again, especially with independent stores. The person who is in the store doesn't like to sell, which just flabbergasts me. I mean, hello, retail is all about selling. The concept of a store is I have things that you want to buy. So why on earth would you try and stop a customer from purchasing? Unless, of course, it's not the right thing for them. And that got me thinking to a coaching call that I had not too long ago, where one of our Scale Your Store students actually said that she quite often gives people a discount when they had a high value order. Now, I did mention this a couple of episodes again, so if this sounds familiar, yes, I have brought it up before. And yes, I am proud to say that that person no longer feels the need to give discounts when people buy from her. But we seem to have this thing, and I'll be honest, it's quite often a female thing more than a male thing. But there is this aversion to selling. And so on today's episode, I wanted to talk about why, if you don't want to sell, you should just shut your doors, you should tear down the website, stop paying for the domain name, and just go and get a job. Or you can do this one simple thing that I'm about to share with you that could change the game for your retail or e-commerce business. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so far she's talked about bricks and mortar stores, but how does this work when it's an online store? I have to say, if you have managed to get somebody to your online store, sure, people are browsing, but we don't generally browse for stuff we're not going to buy. So for example, I'm not going to go and search for guitar strings because I don't own a guitar. But if I was maybe searching for a gift for somebody who played the guitar, then I might go and search for guitar strings. If you have already managed to get someone to your website, you wouldn't be a great CEO if you didn't acknowledge that in and of itself, that is half of the battle. Like, you've already hit a major milestone once you get people to your website. So don't think that you can't pitch the sale to them. Okay, so I know you're thinking, what is this one simple thing? And it is literally looking at it from your customer's point of view. I call it a bit of a mindset flip, totally up to you what you want to call it, but your interpretation of the buying and selling process is completely different to your customer's interpretation. And when you think about it from your customer's point of view, and I'm going to give you a few examples in a moment, when you think of it from what they're experiencing, all of a sudden you realize, heck, I should be selling more. So I set about a little research journey to work out why it is that retailers don't like selling. And I came up with 3 main reasons. Are you ready for this? The first one is that you think you're taking customers' money away from them. And of course, the flip side to that is they are giving you money for something that they need or that they want. So realistically, if you don't sell to them, you are doing your customer a disservice. They have sought you out. They've come to your store. They've come to your website to buy something. And if you don't sell it to them, then you are taking away from that customer experience. Now, like I said earlier, there will always be a situation where the product that someone wants to buy isn't necessarily the right product for them. And I'm not talking about those circumstances. I'm talking about the circumstances where you give someone discounts because you're worried that you're taking money away from them. In my rug scenario, I would have happily given a store money to be able to go home that day with my rug. In the end, I bought one rug and went and purchased another of the same rug from another store online in a different location, only to find that it was out of stock in another store. So that entire experience of where I am happy to give money for the thing that I want has actually turned into a really negative customer experience. Now I'm stuck with one rug, and who knows if and when that other rug will ever turn up. It's now on back order. I haven't been told when it's due to arrive or if it's even due to arrive. So if you ever find yourself as you're packing an online order, you think you have to throw in a free gift, or if you are serving somebody in store and you ever think to yourself, wow, that I'm taking money away from that customer, I want you to flip that scenario and think about it from their point of view. Actually, what they're really doing is giving you money to have something that they want or something that they need. Okay, let's move on to the second reason that retailers don't like selling. And that is you worry that people can't afford to spend that much. Now, I quite often hear this when it comes to things like buy now, pay later. Oh, I'm not going to put buy now, pay later on my website, in my store, because if people can't afford to pay for it up front, then they shouldn't be paying for it at all. Well, that's actually not your decision to make. I can tell you that there's a lot of times when I can afford to pay for things up front. Like most of the stuff I buy, I can afford to pay for things up front. But I use buy now, pay later because it's convenient. And I know that I have a lot of high net worth friends who will do the same thing. In some cases, it allows you to buy multiple things at the same time and spread those payments out. I mean, from a customer's point of view, it's not their money, so they really don't care. It just makes life easier for them. But this is not all about buy now, pay later. If you're old enough, you will have seen Pretty Woman, and you will remember the scenario where Julia Roberts goes into the very high-end store with the credit card, and she is ready to spend up a storm. But she is rejected time after time by the sales associates. I think the phrase goes something along the lines of, oh, how much is this? And the other sales associate goes, it's very expensive. Now, I don't know if you know, but something very similar happened to Oprah Winfrey. When she was on holidays in, I'm pretty sure it was Switzerland, she went into a very upscale boutique and she wanted to look at a handbag. Now, this handbag was $38,000. And when she asked to look at the handbag, the sales associate said, no, it's too expensive. And if you Google this, you'll be able to see the YouTube video where Oprah Winfrey actually talks on a talk show about this situation. But she asked several times to be able to see the handbag. She really wanted this handbag. And hey, it's Oprah. She can afford a $38,000 handbag, right? But time after time, the associate just kept saying, no, it's too expensive. In the end, Oprah walked out. Like, it's the exact same situation from Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts, where she goes back to the store with all of her shopping bags and she says, you just made a very big mistake. I can imagine Oprah was probably walking out of that store thinking the exact same thing. You don't know what somebody's income level is. You don't know if they can afford something. In fact, you don't even know if they've spent a long time saving up to be able to purchase this thing that they're selling. One of the things that I learned in retail very, very quickly is you should never judge a book by its cover. So you should never worry about whether your customers can afford to buy stuff from you. If you ever get caught in that situation, I want you to flip, can they afford it? To imagine how happy they're going to be when they take this product home. It's that simple mindset flip that can make a huge difference. Now, can you imagine how the owner of that boutique would have felt to discover that a $38,000 sale to someone as high profile as Oprah Winfrey didn't go through? I mean, that's a lot of money for a business to miss out on. And I also want to take a moment to here to say that so many times I see retailers want to be affordable. This word comes up again and again and again. But here's the thing, affordable doesn't mean cheap. Affordable is very, very different for each customer. What's affordable for one person when it comes to rugs might be a Kmart rug for $29, but for somebody else, it might be a $25,000 rug. So using the word affordable is actually skewing your entire business model, because affordable for who? Customers actually don't want affordable. What they want is value. And this is something I talked about in one of my recent podcasts, is what is value to one person is very different to another. And I recently had to get a new car battery, and I had a couple of choices. One is I could just go and buy one from the store, or I could have one delivered and installed, or there was a middle ground. There was buy one from the store, and for $15, they would fit it for me. Well, that worked out to be about $100 cheaper. And I was totally okay with paying $15 for somebody to fit my battery, because I know I've got a really fussy car. I've got a mini convertible and everything is difficult to get out. Need to change a light globe? You have to be like ambidextrous and be able to bend your arm around corners to change the light bulb. I knew the battery was going to be just as hard. But I kind of wasn't really prepared to spend $100 for somebody to install it. $15 yes, $100 no. But somebody else may not have wanted the effort to go to the store, to wait for someone to come out. They would just be happy for someone to come to their house and do it. So what value is for your customers could be very different to what value is for my customers. It's the exact same as affordable. And affordable, if that's a word that you're using in your business model, I want you to think about scrapping that one right now. And instead get really clear on the value that you offer your customers. Okay, so the first reason that retailers don't like selling is because they think they're taking their customers' money. The second one is you worry that they can't afford to spend that much. And the third is that you take pricing personally. Now, I have had to leave some Facebook groups because it drives me freaking insane when people put a post up in a Facebook group. Crowdsourcing answers is very rarely the right thing to do, but they put a post up on a Facebook group and they say, how much would you pay for this? Pricing isn't done by crowdsourcing answers, and it should never ever be done on the price that you would be prepared to pay. Because, well, we just went over them. You aren't taking your customers' money, and it's not your job to know how much they can afford to spend. You aren't your customer. So you cannot take pricing personally. Pricing should start with numbers. What are your cost of goods? What are your overheads? What are your advertising costs? All of these go in together to give you a minimum amount that you can sell that product for. And here's the thing, sometimes that product is going to be more expensive than your competitors because their overheads are different to yours. Now, does it mean you can sell it for more? Well, the answer is yes. If you have to sell it for more, then you need to. If you're going to cut your margin on a product, then you have to ask yourself, where are you going to make that money up? And here's the thing, I've already given you the answer. The answer is value. How can you make that product more valuable to your customer? Just like the battery that I told you about. They have added $15 extra to have somebody fit it for me. Now, the young guy who came out to fit the battery was probably paid $15 an hour. How long did it take him? 10 minutes. And so they're still making money on my purchase. It didn't cost $15 for them to have the young boy come and install my battery, but they did increase my average order value. And so what that meant was I was value driven, and they knew that that was important to their customers. Not having to do it themselves was important to their customers. So once you've worked out your sale price of a product, if it is more than your competitors, you need to look at value. And don't be upset if people don't buy from you. Don't take it personally if you have to sell a product for more than what somebody else is. You don't know another store's situation. Maybe they want to get rid of that range and they just want to clear them out. Maybe they have smaller overheads. Maybe they buy in bulk. But when a customer either chooses to shop elsewhere, and I did a podcast last week about why you're losing customers to your competitors, maybe go and check that out if you find that you're not getting enough sales coming through. But if someone tells you that you're too expensive or can they have a discount, don't take it personally. That is all their stuff. Maybe they can't afford to buy the product at full price. Maybe they're just bargain hunters who are trying to find the cheapest price possible. Either way, they're not your ultimate customer. So you don't have to accommodate those queries, those questions, those requests. But what you do have to do is sell. That is the entire nature of being in retail and e-commerce. And if you don't sell, if you find selling icky, then it is time to shut your doors. It is time to close down the website. It is time to liquidate your stock and go and get a job. Because if you don't sell, you won't make money. And you'll end up putting a lot of time and effort into something that isn't giving back. You end up discouraged. Potentially you end up in debt and you lose your love for your business. So you've got two choices. You either embrace selling because that's the whole reason your store exists, or you shut up shop. And I know that's what a lot of people don't want to hear, but it is the truth. And one last thought I would like to leave you with is, if you don't make money and you're not in business, who will serve your customers? So remember, whenever you find yourself not wanting to sell, think about it from your customer's perspective, do that little mindset flip and make a difference. Okay, that is all from me today. I will see you right back here, same time, same place next week. Until then, be profitable and go and sell your little hearts out. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selenaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.